Hello, folks. I'm not sure if y'all can hear me. Let's see. Okay. I wasn't able to
Yes, we
see
hear
you
you.
guys. Hello. Okay. It has minimized the thumbnails. That's totally fine. Usually, in these discussions, when folks have questions, I always ask for you guys to raise your hands, but I wanted to make sure that my video wasn't so laggy this time. And I guess one of the things that Zoom does to optimize the experience is it doesn't show me your guys' little video thumbnails. So um, it might be harder for me to figure out who is up next to ask questions and things like that. Um, but I don't have anything, specific prepared for us today, so I did want to go ahead and launch into questions. Okay, I can rely on the participants list. So Sandy, go for it.
Hi. So I know we talked about this many moons ago, but the section where you can edit the summary
Mhm.
so that is there any way to format it?
Yes,
There is.
let's.
Okay, because I thought there was some way to do it, but you have to use HTML or something or
Yeah,
but
you
could you
do have
show
to
us how
use
to do that?
HTML, but yeah, I'll show you the workaround I like to do. Let me pop over to a demo site to do that.
Maurice, I think
Yes.
the participant list is blocking out your desktop for us.
Oh,
I mean, it's one part of it, obviously, but it looks like there's a blank spot in the middle of your sharing.
gotcha. I'm going to stop sharing again and see if I can make that a little better.
It looks like you were sharing your entire desktop and it was on there, but it didn't show it.
Okay, I think I'm going to go ahead and stop optimizing so I can actually see your guys' faces, and I'm going to just dedicate it to, hopefully that's just my Google browser. Let me open up the participants list. Does it show the participants list again over the screen?
No, there's no
Okay,
blank spot.
awesome. Thank you. Okay, so let's jump into just one of these pages. Okay, so edit draft or new draft if you don't have one already. All right. So the part that we're talking about is the edit summary here. Um, the first step is actually not starting in the summary. You're going to want to start maybe in the body, or what I like to do is use like a formatted text box down under in the body with embed code. But really
Mhm.
all you need is a place where you can copy and paste without having to decipher where your starting point is, if that makes sense.
It does.
So that's the reason I recommend using a separate paragraph box for that, because then you know exactly what you're copying. So I'm going to actually just remove that, but we pretend like you're starting, with your own blank one. You can add images, text, whatever you need. I am just adding random words. And as long as you make all the formatting changes that you need here, whoops, let's use some styles. Whoops, sorry. The copying you won't want to do in WYSIWYG. You'll actually have to do it in HTML. So change that to full HTML. And then this is where we get the formatting. So we copy all of that. And so now let's make sure it's somewhere listed. So it'll be, whoops, promoted to the front page and save. We should see the two little lines of text, but they should be formatted. Let me find where it is. Here we go.
Oh, cool. All right.
So the headings might look a little different because it's on the home page, and so uh, they'll shrink a bit compared to what they look like on like a regular page. But yeah, that is the quickest way so that you don't have to go and learn HTML to format
Okay.
it yourself.
All right.
Isn't
So
there an issue with the length of the text because the HTML is much more longer that it creates?
Yeah, but the summary does go around that. So yeah, that is a good point. Um, the default length that you get for this area is about 200 to 300 characters long, and that's counting all of the HTML, so the open carets, every letter and space, and all that in between. So if you, for example, start
It
your,
leads you get a better.
what was that?
Well,
My
you froze.
Oh, let me go. I'm going to go ahead and sorry, it is I think a little bit better if I am not able to see you guys. So unfortunately, I'm going to go back to that. I'm going to stop share so I can share once again. Um, yeah, I wasn't noticing the lagging before when it was optimized for that quick minute. Okay,
Why can't they give you a better? Aren't you at home?
I am.
Well, they should pay for a better service. Those California LWV people.
Well, I think that might be my next task for myself because they do, yeah, we do get a bit to help us out there. But so back to the summary area. The default is about two to 300 characters long. So if a page starts out with an image, and we're assuming that the summary is not filled in. So the system assumes the first 200 to 300 characters in HTML of the body area. And if you start with an image, usually an image's HTML is much longer than 300 characters. So often that might result in a broken image. And so using the summary function gets around that. You can make it as long as you need to be, inserting images and text and all that formatted. And the best workaround is just, using a WYSIWYG box to help you do that. All right. I don't know if there was any follow-up to that one or if anybody else had another question. I did also get a question, and actually, I can also double check the group here. But one question I did get was about how um, articles and positions and all those things that are different from a page, how they work as far as ending up on their specific lists. And the lists are like the calendar, the articles, or news and announcements, action alerts, positions, and members only is another one of those as well. So for all of those except members only, um, they have to start in the specific type to go down the pipeline to get to their specified list. So events go directly to calendar. Articles go directly to the news and announcements or articles page. Same thing for action alerts, same thing for positions. When it comes to members only content, that can be any actually of the different ad options. The only one that won't show up
Here.
will be that slideshow item. I'm sorry, Maddie?
Oh, I was just saying that you froze again, and so you
Oh
were probably
no.
talking and we couldn't hear you.
I also have been having some Wi-Fi issues just yesterday and today, so that could also be why. I'm sorry, folks, if this is not,
You keep coming back though. So
okay.
yeah.
So maybe I should give some pauses in between, it sounds like. Um, but yeah, as far as members only content, if you're making members only content, it can be any of these, a page, an event, all of that, except for a slideshow item. But a calendar item has to be made as an event. You cannot create a page and expect it to be on the calendar. Same with any of these other types. Um, so I think there was a question about if you add the word article. Again, if you're creating a page and you add the word article, it won't automatically show up on the articles page. It it must be an actual article type.
Gotcha. Makes sense.
And I don't think that we've had some questions recently that we haven't gone over already in the Google group from what I see. Um,
Reese,
yeah.
it's very, so did you, I missed the beginning. So did you answer the one that I just happened to see when I went in to get the link about, sounds like sometimes stuff doesn't show up,
Oh.
articles or something? Is that what you were
Oh,
answering?
yes. Okay, yes, yes. I didn't realize that she had put it here as well. Okay, awesome. So you guys did see the question. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Um, it, since they mention articles, news, or blog posts, that does make me think that it is an article that they're using. So the other thing too that it could possibly be is if it's not showing up on your main articles page, like on this one, but maybe it's showing up on your members only, then maybe double check that it's not set to private. Um, and also double check that it's published. If it's still in draft mode, it won't show up on the list because that list is public.
Mhm.
So a few things could be going on, really depends on which, exact content it is and what's going on with it. But yeah, I will definitely respond to Nancy after. Liz.
When I'm working on pages or sometimes the buttons don't really show the text. And like the save button, and I'll roll over it and then it'll show the text. But I can't give you an example. I was trying to see an example. I don't know if anybody else has noticed that.
It sounds like it could be the formatting on the button. Yeah. Um, I totally I get what you're saying. It is a lower level item though, so I don't think that we'd be able to get down to specifically resolving that. But the save button is there.
I think it's only if you're new, if you're new and you don't know, we just know that that's the save button, so we go down and save. But if you're brand new to doing MyLO, you might not even see it. But I agree, it's not real high level. It's just every time I have it happen, I think I should report that, but I never do.
No, I appreciate it. Yeah, and unfortunately, I think it's one of those things that we would dream to get to, but I don't think that in the list of things that, come up or improvements that we're trying to make, or even just requests to, you know, have something new. We usually try and focus on those a little more. Um, okay, I see Mike's hand.
Yes, I was, I don't know, stumbling around a couple days ago and I wasn't logged in. I noticed that the printer disappeared from from my pages on the site. And then when I logged in as the administrator, then it shows up again. Is there a way we can get the printer to be there for other members to come in so they can print some of the pages?
Um, yes, that will soon be brought back. It was initially rolled out together with the webmaster's access, the public having access to it as well. Um, but we took it off because we saw that there were some differences in formatting, I think, depending on the device. And so that got taken down for the time being. But it will be brought back for all users and hopefully have the same printed report or the page draw up the same for all browser types. because yeah, and the initial views of it were not as expected for everybody.
How about, because I think I remembered printing it to a PDF. Is that still going to be a part of the options, or is that just because I have that option on my PC?
The right now the ability to print from a page on MyLO is only to webmasters.
Oh, I know that, but I meant I
The-
never mind. I can when it comes up with my printer, one of my options is the exact printer, or I can do a Microsoft print to PDF, which is how I really use it. So
Are you talking about like through your browser options?
yes.
Yes.
No,
Or
when I click on the print, it brings up my printer
oh, gotcha.
function. I have
Yes.
an HP printer, and one of the selections besides the printer is Microsoft Print to PDF.
Yeah, this option is working
There you
and
go.
available for webmasters. It's just not visible for like the general public if you're not logged
No, no,
in.
no, go back, go back.
Right. The
No,
printing
no,
prompt is available. That is available to webmasters.
I understand. Hit the printer again, and right there
Even
where it says
Yes, I
destinations.
understand. Yes, you can choose from any of the destinations you have available. That is on your browser.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay. Oh, there you have it too. Save as a PDF.
Mhm.
Awesome. That's where I find out it's the best because it'll save the formatting the best if it's a PDF, and
right,
then I can print from the PDF.
right.
Yeah, it is, and that's part of the reason we wanted to have the print button. If you right click on your web browser, you always have the option to print. But I think the default, yeah, it looks a whole lot funkier because it is picking up all of everything on the website, um,
Yes.
and the links as well. So it makes everything, a lot longer, a lot funkier looking. So yes, long answer, but yes, eventually we will be bringing back that print option for the public.
Okay. Thank you.
And they'll be able to print it to a PDF if they have that function on their computer,
Correct.
right? Yeah.
And I think if they don't already, I saw a see more option. Yeah. So, save as PDF, I think is possibly a default option. I also have an Adobe PDF option. I'm assuming because I have the program downloaded. So yeah, there's ability to add that as a destination if they don't have it already. All right. I saw Judy's question in the chat and then I see Sandy's hand. So I'm going to just quickly pop to Judy's question. Um, to get something on the first page in a box. If you already have it on the front page, it's promoted, um, opposite of demote this item from front page. But then once it's on the front page, you want to then highlight it. That's what gets you that box on it. So it refreshes after you've highlighted it, and encapsulates that item for you. Was there any? Okay, if there wasn't any follow-up, I'm going to go and jump to Sandy's question.
What's the trick to using the, I guess it's the tab in function under formatted text. So there's a little thing that indents, and I tried to use that to indent an image. Okay, I didn't want it centered. I didn't want it to the left. I wanted it indented a little bit. So
Hmm.
I clicked on it, hit indent. It looked fine when I saved it. When I published it, it went back to the left justified.
Okay,
What's going on?
definitely understand that one. Yeah, so let's play around with it. Um, let me zoom in some more here. There we go. All right, so the button we're talking about here is increase indent. Um,
Mhm.
the I guess not designated, but like the function it would serve in WYSIWYG is to indent lists. So if you are working in WYSIWYG and you indent the list, then we see it obviously changes its position and the little icon, and it does hold within WYSIWYG. Let's go back to just a regular paragraph. If we're looking to indent in just regular text, not an actual list, to
Mhm.
hold it, switch to full HTML.
Oh,
So let's just publish it to see. Yeah. So
wow.
that full HTML might quite often be the trick to, hold things where the formatting is dropping off. That is usually one way to essentially kind of freeze the formatting.
Show us that
Can you do
again.
that again,
Yeah,
please?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
it was so
So,
quick.
Sorry.
so Amaris, when you save it with HTML, does that mean every time you update that page after that, you always have to save it as HTML or you will lose that formatting?
Correct.
I mean, if you're making a
Let
different change on that page, then all of a sudden that indent goes away. If you
let's
don't,
try that.
yeah.
I think it should hold. Okay, no, I see what you're saying. Yeah, it would not. So in these cases, you'd want to play with the body with embed code boxes. Have multiple
Mm,
at play, and then the
mm,
indented paragraphs, you could have them um, on their own essentially. So you don't have to go in and edit them as often.
got it.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah,
I think
good
it has
good
to do
question
with
on that.
colors. I think it has to do with colors too. Sometimes when I
Yes.
create something from a different, like Microsoft Word or Google Docs, I'll copy it in and then I have to save it as HTML and it'll save the colors and the formatting. And it does a wonderful job that way. But when you come back in and if you don't save it again as HTML, you lose it all.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely some cleanup that WYSIWYG does automatically. And so yeah, if you don't want it to force change the formatting you've already placed, isolate that in its own, paragraph box. And then anything that needs to be listed under that, then you just add an additional one after that.
Oh, also tables. Sometimes I play with tables and try to center them or at least indent them. And if I don't save it as an HTML, it loses that. Also plays funky stuff with the sometimes when I embed icons and stuff in a cell of a table. Uh, if the only way I figured out how I could keep my formatting that I want is always save it as HTML.
Yeah, no,
So
that is very true. Yeah, it definitely freezes it because a lot of the formatting for MyLO comes from the CSS, like the global formatting rules. So tables end up, following those rules and a lot of the rest of that when you're saving it in WYSIWYG. Awesome. Any other questions?
I just thought I'd make a comment. It's
Yeah.
Sandy. I don't know if other folks got this request, but our membership chair and our treasurer said, please remove any reference to chapter spot from the website. Everything should be LWE member portal. It's so they asked me, they said people are being asked, leagues are being asked not to use chapter spot. I
Mm,
don't know. I guess it's confusing because it's not anywhere, like the button doesn't say chapter spot, the button says LWE member portal.
hmm
So, I mean, it was easy enough to do, but I don't know if anybody else heard that. After all this time talking about chapter spot, they don't want us to call it that anymore.
Yeah, no, I totally get it though, because yeah, we've been using it as in like an organizational term because we're working with that.
Right,
But
right,
if most membership are not that close to it as
right.
we have been, yeah, that term typically doesn't make any sense. But it's hard though, and I totally sympathize with the National League on trying to get that kind of information out to all of our leagues. In MyLO we have only so many, um, and we have what I think over 800 leagues nationwide. So it's something that I can post in our Google group, but yeah, it unfortunately might take a while in case a lot of
Mhm,
leagues are actually using that.
mhm.
All right, I'm gonna scroll email to see if I can see any recent issues that were going on. Hmm. No, I had another question of somebody was having trouble posting an event. And so once we talked about where there were, or what their content looked like that they were trying to paste into MyLO, it was pasting in just fine. But once they got down to the save button, they were getting an error message. So um, once she shared with me where they were copying the information from, um, I tested it myself, and upon pasting in, it had emojis in it. And so we've talked about this maybe once in a past session where um, I think it was an embedded Facebook post that we were working with, and that also had emojis in it. Um, all you have to do is remove the emojis, and it will save the rest of the information. Um, so yeah, that was a recent issue that I saw earlier this week.
Well, if I can interject,
Yeah.
I've had some issues too with things I look at that I've typed in the body and I saved it and it looks strange. I've done it both as WYSIWYG and then as all HTML. And then to fix it, I've copied into Google Docs and that strips out whatever special character or whatever I copied from whatever source to put in there, and then put it back in. That has worked for me in the past. Word, for some reason, will still keep all those special characters, but Google Docs strips them out, which is nice.
Very good. Yeah, that is awesome. And yeah, you're totally right. Word um usually doesn't help to, like you're saying, you're trying to strip it away. And Word is just keeping all of that unnecessary formatting. Um, but yeah, that is a great way to do that. I think also a notepad might
Mhm.
work similarly, but I think Google might hold on to a little bit of formatting, like bolded and italicized text. So yeah, that is a good kind of trick to have to use Google Docs to clean up anything that you're copying from somewhere else.
It
Sandy,
especially happens when I try to copy in a hyperlink.
mhm.
I'm sorry,
Does
I didn't
it?
mean to talk over you. It
No,
especially
go
helps
ahead.
when I copy a hyperlink in. Sometimes I've had the hyperlink just disappear and not show up. So then I copied it back in Google Docs and then it comes in. So whatever I was doing in the body, dragging my fingers across a key or something, just it makes it look like it's there, but then when you save it, it disappears.
Huh, how funny. And is it
But
from
you can tell
different
I play with it way too much.
is it from different sources that you've copied from
Yes,
and you've seen that? Okay.
yes. I'll get
Huh.
it from like PDFs or websites or whatever. Uh, so yeah, so it brings a lot of strange things across. How's that?
Well, yeah, I'll have to play around with that and see too.
Well, we're glad you play around. We
I
get
I
the point.
try because I can't be trying to teach things about the system and then I haven't touched it for some time. It's just not possible. But The California League, we do manage our members only on MyLO. So not as often as you guys, but I do get into editing our members only site every now and then. Sandy, you can go with your question.
Hi, this is not a question. Well, actually it is. So I have a new member. She's actually joined us today and she's going to be helping me with the website. So I gave her administrator access. Will she automatically now start getting emails from you since she's considered an administrator? How does it work? How does she get on the list?
Yeah, she can request to join the Milo support group is one way. Or if you want to just email me, because then I can add her to our customer list, our internal customer
Okay.
list, and then also add her to this Google group.
Okay. Yeah. She's on the Zoom today, Carla.
Oh,
So
awesome.
hi. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Or yeah, either one of you shoot me an email, and I can, get you on both of those.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, I have just an oddity thing.
Yeah.
So, and I was working on a Word document about how to get on the members only thing. Anyway, I had different versions of it, and for some reason, one was a PDF, and I thought, well, okay. So then I wanted to update it a little bit, so I copied and pasted it into Word, and then I think that's what I did, and then I noticed when I was trying to edit it that where it shows you what kind of font you're using, Calibri, and all that.
Uh-huh.
A strange thing showed up, and I'll put it in the I just put it in the chat, and I can only think that it had something to do with the fact that I copied and pasted it from a PDF. I have no idea. Has anyone ever had that before? It's a little disconcerting until finally, um, I don't know what I
You
did,
changed the
but
font or something?
it just kept going back to that same thing. I did change, and then but it was okay after, I don't know, maybe I just started a new page or something. I don't know. Anyway,
Mm. Yeah,
I
I'm
just
not sure at all, but the
never had that happen
TMP
before.
looks a little familiar.
Temporary.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like your computer maybe was, just trying to throw a name to the font, because the program you were pasting into didn't recognize it possibly.
Yeah, or
Um,
what? Yeah, the only thing weird about it was that I had copied it at least at one point from a PDF, and I
mhm.
thought maybe that was it. I don't know. Anyway, I just thought I'd share that.
Yeah,
And
that is an odd.
Jennifer says hello to everyone. She has a health issue right now, so
Oh,
she's looking forward to the recording.
okay, good. I'll make sure that it is up. Oh yeah, and she had asked in last session, and I got a similar question from somebody else about Google Calendars and how to embed those. Google has awesome instructions. Oops, maybe not with
She
that.
did. She put it up pretty quickly.
Yeah, it doesn't take much time. If you already have your calendar set up with all the events you want, all it takes is, going to the right spot within the settings of your Google Calendar, picking up the embed code that you need, and then once you have that copied, then you pop on over to wherever you want it to display. So it can be, um, on your home page in the body of a page, an internal page, it can be on the body of a page. It could even be in the header of your calendar. I've seen that before where folks have their Google Calendar up top, and then obviously the calendar will display events as they are upcoming. So those two can display together if needed.
Well, we didn't have a Google one at all, and so she did it just for the website, and actually it's on the web. It's on the members only.
Oh, nice. In the when you get to this page, like on the landing page of your members only section, or is it a separate? page that you have working?
Uh, no, I can't remember. I think it's a separate page.
Okay.
I-
Does anybody want to see um, an example of an embedded Google Calendar? You can
Yes,
just,
please.
okay.
Sure.
I'm like, with one yes, that's all I need. I'm
Yeah.
I'm easy when it comes to that. Okay.
I,
So yeah, if anybody had
I,
any comment. Mhm.
well, I also wanted to make a comment that one of the things you can do with the Google Calendar, and even the person, the member can, or the, user can do it, is change it from a calendar, monthly calendar, to a weekly or a list. And I found that when we had it embedded, you really couldn't see what any of the events were. So made it so that it defaults to the list,
Awesome.
list the events in chronological sequence.
Awesome. Yeah, that is a good I like that feature too, that you can default to it if you find that one looks better. Um so yeah, let's go through those steps and I'll show off that bit too. So um let's say that let me actually work with a new calendar. Can I make a new calendar? We're just going to call it test calendar. The reason I want to make a new one is because I think by default they are not public. I just want to go through the steps as if, you're you're following or I'm following the same steps that you would. I'm assuming most of you would probably be creating a new calendar, not using your own personal. So, okay, test calendar. So I'm following along with the instructions on my other screen. When we go to the calendar, you want to click on settings. So I think it's the same. If I click on settings from up here or where I had clicked on settings from the test calendar. So scroll down to integrate calendar. Here we go, down here on the left. Under the embed code, click customize. All right, and then all the options are here on the left. So by default, it looks like the calendar title doesn't get filled in, shows up at the bottom. We can see all the different options here, title, the options to be able to show or not show them, navigation buttons, date, print icon, view menu, calendar list, time zone, and border. You can control the width and height, and it's only fixed in pixels. The default view, what Maddie had recommended, you can always change this to be the best look. And I think schedule is what they're now calling the list.
Right. Exactly.
And then, yeah, you can further customize. The time zone will likely come in at your default time zone. And where do we have? Okay, so it just automatically updates your embed code as you make changes on the left. So we copy to clipboard. Let's come back over. Um, I'll pop it into a couple of places. So let's first add it into the calendar's header. So I'm going to actually just replace what we have here. We want to work in full HTML since we've copied some embed code, and we'll leave it as full HTML. And with these, we just have to save. They go straight to published already. So this is what that looks like here. And I will mention too, the default width is the default width of MyLO pages, 800. So you you you'll be good if you add that without changing anything there. So let me go ahead and I'm going to use this article. It's the same as if we were working with a page. If this is just to show besides a header, how might it look on an actual, web page? So same thing, we do have to work with full HTML. Um, let's just work with the body here. I can add that onto the end, and it doesn't matter if you tack it onto the very end or if you add it to a new line, it will be the same. And we'll just publish so we can see that straight away. And so yeah, any changes that you make, let's say you actually prefer the month view. When you make those changes to your embed code, you do have to copy and re-add that. So replace it. I don't believe it updates automatically. Yeah. So yeah, it's pretty easy as long as you have your calendar ready to go. I see two hands. I see Tess and then Mike. Tess, I'm not sure if
I'm
you're. Oh,
sorry.
there you
I'm
go.
sorry.
Okay, no
I'm
worries, no worries.
sorry. So, so, so when you're embedding that code, you're actually replacing the calendar that's already there?
No, it won't replace it.
Uh-huh.
It is it is a separate calendar. So
Oh, okay.
the only reason I don't have anything here is because my demo site, I just don't have any upcoming. But the Google Calendar
Okay.
is just separate and would require, Google events added to it.
Okay. So, um, it's just a different way of looking at the league's calendar. Some people may prefer the Google Calendar as opposed to the calendar that lives on the page.
Correct.
I mean, okay,
And with that would require, posting onto the Google Calendar. And so there are leagues that do both. There are leagues that do one or the other. So
okay,
yeah, totally optional to have a Google Calendar.
okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, just to add, so the reason we put it on was because somebody had scheduled a meeting without talking to anybody else or remembering that it was a bad date. But at any rate, so that's why we started talking about having something on the members only so people could go and
Be
look.
collaborative
Yeah,
too.
because I mean, our calendar for the website is all public stuff,
Hmm.
So the internal one is, board meeting, program planning, that kind of stuff.
Gotcha.
So it should help.
Yeah. I love hearing the use cases. So it's nice to hear, what you're using it for and compared to how you use your MyLO calendar too. Mike, go for it.
Uh, sorry, I'm lowering my hand. So when you do the Google Calendar, when you click on an event, can you add it to your Google Calendar?
Yeah. I think, yeah, copy to my calendar. And if you go to more details, I think it also
Okay.
takes it, I think it might take you to their calendar. It's hard for me to test because I'm using my own. But yeah, you definitely can copy it to your own calendar.
Okay. Although probably with, because I have a Google Calendar, if I created this like for our members only for our officers and our committee leads,
Hmm.
I could have them share it to their calendar, and that way I could put
Hmm.
things on the league, and then it automatically would show up on their calendar as a shared event.
Yes, I
I
believe
think that's
so.
trying to add on to what Mary Jo talked about, is making sure that our leadership does not overschedule the same time,
Yeah.
either with another league event or a personal event.
Yeah, isn't it also possible for your own personal calendar to make your view include other
Yes,
calendars that you have access to? I mean, and some, even if you don't have any update access, you can still view them, right?
yes,
Yeah, okay.
yeah. For personally, I share my calendar with my wife, so she knows what I'm doing all the time.
She
Awesome.
appreciates that.
Yeah. Well, it helps, I guess, when you're on different places and somebody wants to schedule a meeting, you can pull it up
Right.
and see what you both have.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think that is a really great solution for leagues that are looking for something, and especially because it's free to use. It's a great way to be able to collaborate and coordinate. You can add people and have them have different permissions if you needed
Mhm.
them to be able to create events and all that. But I think yeah, this might be what you were talking about. Allowing, or no, you mentioned or was it Maddie mentioned allowing other calendars or other events to be on your calendar? I'm not sure where that setting might be, but it's
No, no,
definitely
if you go back to
possible.
just share with, and you'll just like put me in there, then I can I can add it to my calendar, the shared ones, so I can show multiple calendars.
Oh, I see. Okay, okay, okay. So
Yeah.
that is where it would be then.
And if you change the permissions, then uh, I can not only I can add things to it, delete it, edit, but you probably mostly want to, well, depending. Yeah. So you could also have other people add stuff to it if you share it with them with the right permissions.
Right,
So, for
right.
instance, your membership chairman could share it on her Google Calendar, and then she could add membership meetings
Hmm.
right to the shared calendar for the league. So
Yeah.
that, you
Right. So you don't have to rely on just one person entering
Mhm.
in all the meetings. You have all the different kind of department heads or, yeah,
Yep.
the different leaders. Awesome. Yeah, Google is pretty nifty when it comes to having some free
The only downside is you
integratable
have to add
stuff.
the items twice if you want,
Right.
well, I guess if it's only committee meetings, you'll just do it once, but
Right. Yeah. If you're using it as a public facing Google Calendar, yeah, it is double posting, unfortunately. Um, I don't think that Google Calendars allow you to have an RSS feed, because our events do offer that, like to be able to subscribe to them. And if
What,
if you have a
can you show
program,
us that later?
I only have it through Microsoft Outlook. So Google doesn't, I haven't found a way to do that through a Google Calendar. Um,
No, you said that our regular calendar on MyLO.
yeah, you can subscribe to it, but you have to have a specific like RSS feed compatible program. And so Microsoft
Oh,
Outlook offers that. I
I have
think
Outlook.
Gmail might, I'm not sure. Um,
Oh,
but yeah, there isn't a way, unfortunately, to have the Google Calendar pick it up. But I made a note to myself to poke around and see if there's anything like that with Google Calendar, but I I don't recall that being a compatible thing. Usually this is like for um, inboxes, like it comes in as an email notification essentially. But I will double check on that. Any other questions? I'm gonna poke around some more in email.
Um, I have a question.
Yeah.
Um, the last time, we subscribed to different leagues,
Mm-hmm.
for their events and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And did you say that the Pennsylvania League you can't subscribe to them?
They technically are not on MyLO.
Okay.
Let's see, am I spelling it right? So one thing that we have to do when a league from a certain state joins MyLO, we have to create that state's site on MyLO, even though they're not on MyLO. And it's just so that the URL that starts, with our domain /Pennsylvania, it makes that open and available. So then any local
Okay.
leagues within that state can then follow that path. Um,
Okay.
so that's the reason it shows up as an option, but they unfortunately don't actually have a MyLO site.
Why not?
Right? We wouldn't mind if you nag them about that. I think Liz could probably speak to that. We've gone through that with her state league, talking about that, why aren't they on? Maybe we can figure out another way. But yeah, it always unfortunately ends up with that where we if the state league is technically not on MyLO, we do still have to add them on kind of as a ghost site.
It's tough because if there's an event that I want to advertise, I have to kind of like duplicate what they have or just point to it, you know. It's kind of clunky.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you might, if you don't already, have make use of like your calendar headers. If you don't already have a link to their like events page, that might be a way. I know it's better to
Oh,
have the content right there, um, but
okay.
that might be one way to
Okay.
make you feel better of like there's a quick way they can get to the content rather than always having to make everything twice or a second time.
Okay. Okay, that's a good idea. Thanks.
Yeah. Any other questions or suggestions?
Could you review the putting the translate widget in on the page?
Yeah. So let's trying to think where we have that information. I think there's a documentation on it. Yes, there is. All right, so install Google Translate widget. I usually just Google to find that. If you want to find it directly where it's under documentation, and then you can just search Google in the keywords field. All right, so install Google Translate widget.
I mean, if you've done that before, I can just look at the documentation. That's fine.
Okay.
I mean, if you don't want to go through it again right
No,
now,
not I do not mind at all. It's
maybe
always
if no one else wants it.
like I said, I only need one person. Yeah, you're the one, and we'll show it off.
I need
Um,
to update mine. I've
oh,
got the basic one.
oh, okay. Yeah, let me drop the documentation in the chat just to make sure you all have it. All right. So, installing the Google Translate embed code. So we recommend adding it to the sidebar content section so that it's visible across your whole website. Um, let's see, where do I? Okay. So I did change it up so that you do submit the form for your league. It really uh is not a huge it just has two questions. Like it's just asking you to acknowledge your use of it, and I think it asks you the organization, okay, your domain, um, and you could put either your league's domain or the actual MyLO address, and then your email. So let's just submit it. I'll go for it. Doo-doo. I know I have it on other sites already installed, but that's okay. Okay, awesome. So they just spit it right out afterwards. Under step 2, we want to copy from the open caret to the closed caret. Copy that. Sorry, I'm just going to read real quick. Step 1, determine the language code of your website pages. Okay, that's fine. Um, since ours will be the default anyway. Coming back. So I copied the embed code that I just got from the request form. Um, let me actually go to a site that doesn't have it already. They all do. That's okay. That's fine. All right, so new draft. And if you're like me, where I have a whole bunch of different buttons, obviously I have my join and renew buttons and the portal button. So those do actually appear higher. So let me find my sidebar content section. If I want to see it at the very, very top or as high as it can be, what I'm going to do is in the sidebar content section at the very top of this, when we switch it to full HTML, that's where I'm going to paste it. If you were okay with seeing it further down the page, then I have this old one already and it appears. Let me actually open the front page in a separate tab so we can look at it kind of back and forth. So if I add it before my join renew button in blue, so I added it before this blue button, it will be right under the LWV member portal button. If we don't want to have these buttons superseding, then I would just turn these buttons off and then my new Google Translate will be at the very top here. So I'm going to actually do both of those things. So I've pasted in my Google Translate at the top. I'm going to leave the other one as well. But those member buttons, I can, make them in the sidebar content myself. So we'll turn these off just because I want the sidebar not to be taken up by those two buttons at the very top. And sorry, I think this one I can leave on. So turned off the membership button and turned off the global membership button. All right. So we publish. And when it comes to your sidebar, you do need to publish to see it afterwards. If you save it as a draft, it won't show up. All right, so that's what it looks like if we just squeeze that in by itself. The other part that's optional if you wanted to have something that kind of grabs their attention and explains to them what the little widget is. These images are in the media library and they're titled Google Translate. They have
Okay.
Google Translate in there. So if you search for Google_Translate, I think there's like maybe two purple ones or maybe two red ones and a purple one. There's like 3 or 4 different versions of this image. Um, definitely a red one and definitely a purple one because of the different themes that we have. But yeah, so um, this is what it looks like with the combo of the image and the widget. And this is what it looks like, the widget just by itself. And you can place this widget anywhere you want it to be if you did want it to have, if you wanted it to be like within a page. We just recommend the sidebar because then as you change it to another language and you travel the site, then that the widget is following you because it's in the sidebar. So the translations follow as well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Mike said that he has
Yeah.
to update his. How do you know if ours is, I don't know if ours is basic or needs to be updated. How would we know?
No, it's the picture. I don't have that Google
Oh, okay.
Translate picture. I still have that select language box.
Oh, so it's
It's,
the image that you want to update.
yes, I have
Okay,
the
not the
select
not the
language with the
program.
down
Okay.
arrows.
Okay, thank you.
No,
Yeah. The good thing about the Google Translate widget, if there were changes made, by Google, then they're disseminated to everybody using it.
Okay.
Unless there was like a major, this embed code isn't working anymore, but they would typically be making major announcements about that.
Thanks.
Yeah. Oh,
Um, I'm sorry.
no, go for it, Tess. And then Sandy.
I have a question. I added an icon for 5 calls on the sidebar, and the way I did that was uh, I went to the sidebar and um, I added it. I added the image
Hmm.
um, in the main box, and then I linked it to the website page.
Okay.
Um, but is there an easier way to do that? I mean, because I had trouble figuring out how to, like, where to put it. Like if I wanted to put it higher up, like you were doing with the Google Translate,
Uh-huh.
like how would I put the image higher up? Um, do I move it to HTML? But I don't understand. I don't.
Yeah, let's talk about that a little bit.
Okay.
I'll continue to use this one here.
Uh-huh.
So the order of things depends on how you have things laid out. So we are in the sidebar content section. The different
Hmm.
like paragraph boxes that we get, the main one is
Yeah.
sidebar content,
Okay. Right.
and then the other ones are the ones under sidebar embed code.
Hmm.
So if you are adding, let's say you added it here at the top of sidebar embed code, it's not going to be at the top unless your sidebar content section were empty. So the more you
Right.
have in the sidebar content section here, the further it pushes down these ones. So
So you're saying the sidebar, you should put the sidebar in embed code first, and then the other stuff, and then add the other stuff in the main box.
yes, you can do that. The other way too, you can just keep using this sidebar content section here. So you
Hmm.
said that you had an image, right?
I had trouble putting the image in there. I mean, it wouldn't, like when I let's say I wanted to put something in between Join Renew and Google Translate.
Hmm.
So I went over to the the right side of Join Renew, and then I hit the enter button, but nothing happened. Is
Okay.
Okay, how did you make that smaller? How
So
did you make the join?
yeah, I clicked on the image,
Uh-huh.
and I get the little outline,
Okay.
and then you can drag and
Okay.
and drop and resize.
Okay. Okay.
So so if it does not move and you expect it to, to start a new line because
Hmm.
you went to the end
Hmm.
of that, you hit enter, and if it does not move, try
Uh-huh.
hitting the eraser. Um, the remove formatting eraser button helps if, as
Oh.
when you're expecting something like hit an enter key, or you're expecting to center something, or you tried to uncenter it. Try using the
Okay.
eraser on it and see if that clears it up. Um,
Okay.
the other thing, let's see. Yeah, so if that's the issue, the other thing too, you said you had a trouble getting the image in. If you're working with an image that is already on another website, let's see.
No, what I did was I saved the image from a website into my files,
Okay,
and then I went to the image icon um
to
to the
upload
right.
it.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Then that, yeah, that is definitely the way to do it then.
Okay.
In
Okay.
case you wanted to, because this is one trick that I do, um, I for our league, we post the monthly highlights on our own website, and then we also post it on MyLO to save myself time to not have to re-upload these images over and over. What I do
Oh,
is actually find an image I can copy. None of these are easy to copy. Let me actually see if I can do it from maybe a MyLO site. Okay. Obviously, this example, if we were
hmm
working on a site outside of MyLO, that's the idea. But
hmm
this will get the same thing across. So, um,
Oh, and you can actually just paste it.
well, you have to paste it into full HTML. So it does require a little bit of
Okay.
like creating the HTML first, but it's something,
Okay.
whoops, that you can usually Google. But otherwise, it's pretty easy. So open caret IMG represents the image HTML, followed by
Oh,
SRC for the source, equal sign, and then the URL is going to go within quotation marks. So the URL gets
okay.
pasted after that, and then end that with some quotations and close the caret.
Oh,
So all the parts again, open caret IMG space SRC equals quote the image URL, close quote, and close that caret.
okay, great.
And I
Okay.
think,
And then you bring it back to
can I WYSIWYG?
WYSIWYG.
Let me double check if I can do it immediately. Yeah. Um,
Oh, that's great.
So that's one way, especially if they're already online somewhere. The requirement, for using images is the same. You want to be very extra careful no matter where you're pulling these images from,
Yeah.
whether you're uploading them through the media library or you're using this workaround. Always make sure that you have the proper permission to use whatever
Right,
you're putting
right,
on your website or credit it properly. Um,
right.
but yeah, so through this workaround, if you switch back to WYSIWYG, then you get the same options to resize, to
Okay,
format if you wanted to center it. Um,
okay.
so let's just save that and I'll show you what that looks like.
Yeah, Maurice, can I just comment? It
Yeah.
seems to me that when I was working with images that
Yeah,
it
that's
also
great.
depends on which browser you're in, because I could not resize them by dragging in Firefox, but I could resize by dragging in Edge.
Yes, yes, very good point. That is, yeah, from last I checked, still true. So
Okay.
Firefox is the only browser so far that we've seen does not give you the option to resize an image. So we saw, when you click on an image in a draft, it gives you that little outline around it so that you
Mhm.
can, size it up and down. Firefox, unfortunately, doesn't do that. So, yeah, resizing images, you'll want to use really any other browser,
Just not Firefox,
unfortunately.
right?
All right, I see Sandy and then Mike.
Um, my question isn't about what you just did, but I want to make a comment. I guess you also have to make sure that if you're putting in an image like that, you should have added alt text to the image before you paste it, correct?
Very good point too. Yes, yes, yes.
Because we're really supposed to be providing the alt text on all of our images. And I know
Yes.
there's a way to do that in,
When you upload.
yeah, when you upload. Yep. But if you're
So,
doing it, pasting it in, you have to do it. Where would you add the alt text in?
yeah.
If you're just, where would you add that in?
So I highlighted the image HTML. What the system did after I saved, it kind of filled in the blanks for me. So it has
Oh,
width, height, and then it actually kind of left us the empty alt. Um,
oh,
I
okay,
think it's called a parameter. But this piece is where, yeah, you definitely want to use this to describe the image, or if
okay,
there's text in the image, put that here. Um,
okay.
but yeah, very good point. If you were, adding it in as part of, the initial part of adding the image HTML, then all you would do after you close the quote on that URL, hit space, ALT, equal sign, and again, the whatever you want to show up as that alt text will be within the quotations.
Okay. So my original question was, where do I get that Google Translate image, the red one?
Oh
Is
yeah,
that,
it's in the media library. Let me
oh, it
just
is?
search,
Okay, is it? Okay.
and
I didn't realize
yeah, I
that.
can just show
Is it called
the
Google
options.
Translate? Very
Yeah, you
easy.
have to
Okay.
look up Google underscore translate because I don't
Okay,
think
that's
it'll
fine.
come up
You
like
don't have to
this.
bother. Go ahead. I can find it.
No worries. Just so that I can. Okay, so there's three versions. I thought there were four. There's just three versions, it looks like. And then someone else uploaded an example of what the Google Translate looks like
Hmm.
once they've enabled it. So that's cool too.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah. Mike, go for it.
Okay, so while we were talking, I just opened up my sidebar and I downloaded the Google image that I wanted uh, and deleted the old text saying, please look below and select whatever. And I added it in a text box, just the image. And then I grabbed the left-handed, whatever handlebars are, and moved it up so the image was supposedly above the Google Translate. But every time I save it, it has the translate above the image in my sidebar. I'm probably not describing it well. If you
No,
go over to
I
my
know
site, you could probably
exactly
see
what you're
it.
saying. Whoops, I put BBC, not
Because
BCC.
I put the HTML code for the actual translate in a different box than I put the image.
And when you go back to edit it, is it showing up how you want it, or is it still showing up in the reverse
So I
order?
so I grab the image here where you see Google Translate and I pull it up above where it says select language because
Oh,
they're in different boxes. And then I save it, but it reshuffles it always.
Okay.
I'm sorry, it doesn't take the move. How's
Right.
that?
It doesn't stick, it sounds like, right?
Yes.
Okay. So
And I know it's an operator error.
that's a funky one. Okay. I see you there.
And I sort of guessed that the HTML code I had
What?
to remove that because it just had text in it. So I just removed the text. So
Okay. So let's see. It did do a little funky thing where it is pulling up the HTML code that generates the image. Is it okay if I try publishing this, Mike?
yeah.
Okay.
No. I
I
mean, it's
will
not working now. What
I
could you
will
do? It's already
revert
broken.
if it looks way too funky.
I already know how to go back to get the older versions from different days. So
I don't think this is a user error.
the only other way I think I could do is just copy the HTML that has the actual selection and put it on in the same box as I have the image and then save it again.
You could. I'm also going to make a note. It's like I don't know.
But theoretically, you
Ordering
should
them.
grab those little plus signs there and just pull it up and you should save it in the order you want.
Right. Yeah, it should be holding, and so that is not working as expected. Ordering. Okay. Okay. So I've got a note for myself there. But yeah, I think your workaround, if you copy this and put it here, do you want me to do that?
Sure, just copy.
Let's cut
And
that.
you don't have to delete. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll leave that empty one there if you
Huh.
need it in the future.
Yep.
There we go.
Okay. Yeah. Now it's underneath. It's got a little space there, but what the heck?
There might be some maybe paragraph um tags, and so removing those can like condense it.
Yep.
But yeah, play around with that.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah,
And I would assume it's the paragraph that's under select the language. I probably didn't get all the right code underneath it deleted properly.
possibly.
Okay. Thank you.
Cool. Yeah, no problem. Alrighty, folks. I think that takes us to the end. As always, thank you so much.